This is a demo for GAM 470 assignment 7. So in this assignment, we need to create graphic object class to handle shader models and lighting things. And so here's what I have. I couldn't find a model online that had multiple meshes, so I'm using the given one, the chair here, to demonstrate that. The model I found online is this X, and it's rendered using the texture shader, so it doesn't have any lighting effect. And this spacecraft is a texture light. So this chair is having different lighting effect based on the mesh. And the chair is looking metallic. The back is looking made of leather because it reflects some light. And the place where you sit on is just have no specular effect. So in this assignment, the professor gave us the base class, which is, it's not base class, it's the samples, it's the color one. And basically everything else is just using the same logic. For example, for this color light, I make the ambient, diffuse, and specular, just like the color. So when I initialize it, everything just become list size of the number of mesh I have, and I can set the material, set all of them, or set each of them individually based on the mesh number. And the texture is, well, it's nothing different. It just make the texture, also change the texture pointer. And now when I initialize, it's pretty self-explanatory. I can set them individually, set them all, and when I render it, just go through the loop, render each texture to each mesh, and that's it for the basic stuff. So the further work, the way I'm doing the further work, it's quite stupid. First I put all for shader here, and because any of them might be used. And well, the trick I'm doing to differentiate shader to the mesh is I have 4 booleans. Each one is related to one shader, and when I'm initializing it, the booleans become a list of booleans with number of meshes, just like the texture, just like the color, and the ambient, diffuse, and specular, the material stuff. So, but what does the boolean value do? So it's right here. The shader, the graphic object is not becoming a list because I haven't been able to figure out how to do it yet. So when it can be assigned to the graphic object like everything else, but difference is it has their specific things to store it, and by assigning the shader, I change the booleans, so the position related to this shader or this mesh is set to true, and others are all become false. This also helps me not to creating two shaders for this same mesh. And if I doing everything, finish everything, assign all the values, I start rendering it. So now I run through the loop, all the meshes, and based on the number, I can tell which shader I should be using in this mesh, and render the things, everything I need. Because only one of these 4 is going to be true, so it won't have any conflict. So right here but there's some difficulties I'm facing here, because when we used to render things, we're only using one shader, so we can set the context of that shader in the draw scene part. But now I'm having 4 shaders going on in this graph object, so I need to pass all the everything, the device context and the camera matrix, everything here into the render, so I can set them inside here. And it works beautifully for these 4 shaders, but anything that anymore is not going to work. I'm using this cottage model because it has 4 meshes, and the worst is the worst should be reflecting the light. Yes, it is. Just need to find the right angle to see it. And the door is not. It's just simply the texture. The roof is, and the purple cylinder is not. Okay, so what I expect I will be doing in the future to make this work better is I will, for all these shader class, I think I will change the shader base class to I think I will just use the shader base as something that can adapt to all these different shaders. So yes, maybe I use a shader base, just like something like this, and when I initialize it, I'll just initialize a list of shader base, and whenever I try to assign a value to it, it will just adapt to it. But for now, I couldn't figure it out how to do it, so I'm using this method. And yes, and that's it.